Yeah, g'day. I'm going to talk you through how I thought my clothing choices went for Alone Australia Series 1. I'm at a recovery house effectively. Check me out, I'm still looking like a bag of shit because I've lost a bunch of weight. But I'm just in Tassie here, Hobart. I'm just going to informally run through on my mobile phone what I thought of my equipment. Now, this is not only interesting, I would say, if you're into Alone, but if you're into the outdoors and hiking and stuff like this. I've been living with this stuff and surviving off it for 64 days, and so I really got quite an insight into some of the pluses and minuses of it that you wouldn't actually see unless your camping trip goes to poop. Stick around because couple of things surprised me a little about stuff. I haven't laid this out particularly well because, I don't know, it doesn't seem important. All right, the down jacket, it was good. That's the Mountain Warehouse one. It was long, it's very heavy, but it was warm. Even when I was still cold in it because my metabolism was slow, and a lot of the time I was sitting doing not much to conserve energy or fishing, but I was quite happy with this. And the thickness of it, the pockets are pretty good. The hood was good. I never bothered detaching it. I was happy. And the ability of the zip can go up and down both ways. Because it's such a long coat, that really became important if you're doing a wee, or if particularly I was changing microphones and stuff all the time, taking it on off in various situations, accessing my pockets beneath, that was quite a handy feature. So this down jacket was good, and it was also slightly waterproof, which was good because it got rained on a fair bit, and that was enough to keep the water off. These down pants are absolute gold. They're rip-off ones from Nepal that I bought. It's all fairly weak material. I thought that I would only wear them at night. I ended up wearing them probably 2/3 of the time. I never came out of them unless I was washing. They're not really thick down pants. I would have been happy with even thicker ones, but they were really good. Pockets were good. They came up really high. A pair of down pants, I mean, if you go hiking and you have a down jacket and a pair of down pants, you're pretty much hiking with a sleeping bag. In fact, you can get away with hiking with a much thinner sleeping bag, the weight of your sleeping bag, and you're just wearing half your sleeping bag whenever you want. They're windproof, excellent. Highly recommend. Everyone was jealous. From what I gather, the production crew were jealous. You know, when the medics, when the doc comes out and stuff. Definitely get some if you're doing this kind of thing in this kind of place. Pants wise, these Hunter's Elements pants, they were really good. The pockets in them are good. They're fleecy lined, comfortable, stretchy, have that reinforced fly, a lot of pressure under that because I was fat to start with, and then I was really thin. The belt loops are good. I ended up cutting a hole here so my microphone that I'm always mic'd up the whole time, other than when I'm sleeping, could go through on the inside. But they're really good pants. I was happy with them. That light fleece was good from Speaker. The zip was good. The pocket was handy. Just a medium weight fleece. I didn't end up needing any of the camouflage nature of anything because the hunting we could really only do with the club. There's only 3 animals in my area, 3 paddy melons. You only hunt them at night, so the camouflage was kind of useless. And the whole concept of trying to club an animal at night when you have to illuminate them with a torch is kind of, I don't know really how you can get away with doing that and be successful. But anyway, that's why they're that cam coloured, but didn't make any diff. All right, let's go across the top here. Thermals. Basically, merino wool, excellent for so many things. They don't stink, they're warm. If they get wet, they still keep you warm. They dry reasonably quickly. Now, what I think is very interesting is that these ones are Aldi ones. I could not tell the performance difference between a $20 Aldi thermals, top and bottom, to $130 just for the top only, or the pants only, expensive version from Mountain Design. It is, hang on. Yep, Mountain Designs. They're a great brand. These cost like 130 bucks. Perform the same as 20 buck Aldi ones. Sorry, Mountain Designs. Just telling people the truth. Right, Hunter's Element jacket. It was good. It performed as it should. It's certainly stiffer than the really lightweight Expedition Gore-Tex that I normally use. But that is more hardy. But basically the way I dealt with the rain was by staying out of it, doing indoor jobs in my shelter when it was raining, and then so I actually didn't wear it that much. Same with these Mont pants. These are excellent top of the range pants. You can see they're not even, other than a bit of that, they're not even that dirty. And part of that is probably because they're going to be my ski pants, and I didn't want to ruin my ski pants. But like I said, I think I was happy with how I just saved my tasks for when the weather was good, you know. I don't think I was penalised in my survival by using that technique. All right, for neck warmers and stuff, just a standard fleecy neck warmer was excellent. This is a stretchier version. That's like, I can't really call them, those gator things. Useful, but they're poor for warmth. It's the synthetic material that doesn't provide much warmth, and when it was cold and I did try doing that wrap around your face thing, I found it almost cold on my face. But still, that was handy. The scarf, this is my scarf that I got when a Saudi Arabian headpiece basically. I just used it to keep the stringy bark off my sleeping bag. And I was going to use it because for Mozzie Net, because it's so thin that you can breathe through it. But I didn't need that, but it was handy. But it had a bit of sentimental value, and I was a bit reticent to cut it. But it's just because I couldn't find anything more suitable in the time, and whatever. It worked well. Beanie. This is a really thick beanie from XTM. It was good. It's heavy and it's loose, so it kept on falling in front of my eyes and stuff. But the main thing was, I was in that nearly the whole time, and because it was loose enough, it didn't give me that really uncomfortable beanie hat hair that you get. So it was a good choice. And I did roll it down at night time and actually have this over my nose, and block the light out as well at night. So that was good for sleeping in. Happy with the beanie. Gloves. These are these sealskin gloves, which are 100% waterproof. I know it doesn't look like it. I know that looks like cloth, but there's like a Gore-Tex-y style layer underneath. It's a good concept. The problem is, these are extra large. I've got extra large hands. My fingers weren't long enough to get to the end, but the material is too tight, and so it squashed the blood out of my hands. I'll show you what I mean. I have got large hands, but see how the tips are bending over? See how the thumb's too long? But so they don't fit my hands, but they're squeezing the blood out because they're too tight. So basically they make the fingers too long and too narrow. And I have fairly standard proportioned hands. So these made my hands dry but too cold, so I didn't use them basically. I'm going to contrast those with sealskin socks. They're pretty expensive, these things, like 80 bucks. Might be 50 for the socks and 80 for the gloves. But I only used these once. That was when I was kayaking with my gumboots on, but then my gumboots got wet, and I basically, rather than getting my socks wet, I put these on, and I was happy with them. My feet felt dry, even though I was putting them into soaking wet gumboots. I only did that once for a bunch of reasons, but I thought those socks were quite good just for that weird situation. But I don't know when I'll use them again, but I was happy. Gloves, these are just standard Gore-Tex ski gloves. I kept them in good condition because I like skiing and I didn't want to trash my gloves, and I didn't really need to use them that much because I just had my hands in my pockets a lot of the time when it was cold, and I wore some thinner glove liners, which I think they're still stuck in the pocket over here. Yep. Anyway, Gore-Tex gloves, pretty standard. These glove liners were good. Merino's good. I was quite happy with those. I can't remember the brand. I'll put it in the description. Icebreaker. Leather work gloves, incredibly important. But these had a very slippery finish on them. And because I wanted a new pair of gloves just so I could get the maximum wear out of them, when I first was cutting the grub out of a tree, the slippery finish allowed the axe to slip out of my hand, and came in reasonable range of giving me a really bad cut on my leg, which could have sent me out. So just mainly, otherwise the good gloves, just crazy slippery finish to begin with, this which nearly caught me out. Well, it did catch me out, and it was just luck that meant I didn't get injured. Gaiters, I didn't use them once. Just didn't need to. That's just a standard leather belt. I'm glad it was leather. Leather's comfy, whatever, it's just a belt, not rocket science. Okay, other tops, cotton t-shirt. That was my towel basically. That was always my plan, but I was going to repurpose it into a shrimp trap. Other things, it is good to have a couple of pieces of cotton hanging around in your kit, because cotton's a vegetable fibre. It is designed to hold moisture, so it's good for drying stuff. So a bit of cotton's good, but you don't want it to keep you warm if you get wet. That blue jumper, bloody awesome. Heavy, but comfortable. Rough wool on the outside, soft wool. It's basically a double jumper sewn into one. Soft wool on the inside. Zipper's good. The neck's a bit tight. I can't, even with nothing else on, zip that up and get it around my neck. But because I had other stuff on, that didn't really matter. But it's a really good jumper. I like that jumper, and I'm going to keep wearing it. This camouflage long sleeve top really didn't come in handy for anything. I used it to patch a hole in the tent on the back of my shelter. But in the right situation, if I could hunt during the day and it was hot, that's what I would have used. This is a Swan Dry shirt, ordered from New Zealand. Cost me about $200 to buy with postage. Asked for a large, they sent me a medium. It was unusable as a shirt, it was too small. There was no time to change it. Even though the receipt that came with it said it should be large, they sent me a medium. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to use an important piece of warm clothing that I would have worn. I ended up just having it, it was one of the things I lay on for insulation underneath my sleeping bag. These shorts shouldn't be in there. Oh yeah, no they shouldn't. Alright, undies, cotton undies. So I pulled the elastic out of these and used them on a trap, which ended up making it successful. The other undies that I took with the mad colours, they were good for fishing lures, and the elastic out of those was good. So basically I just was able to just turn some of the underpants, the boxer style short ones, into other useful survival items. Boots. These boots are good. These Bogs ones, they're like $200 or whatever. I don't think they've discontinued this brand, but it's a soft rubber. These are gum boots. This is a hard rubber that's not very flexible, not so comfortable, and doesn't have insulation. This one has some insulating properties. Mind you, my feet still felt cold, but it had a slow metabolism. So I forgive them for that. Grip's not too bad, fairly easy to get in and out of. And this neoprene just means that they're less restrictive when you are trying to climb stuff up and down, stepping forward and back. Whereas with this harder rubber up the top here, it's not as nice. So these were good. They're comfortable. They dried reasonably quickly, even though they have this cloth inner. They were a good addition to my kit, and I used them for fishing. It was a horrible muddy spot. Very glad I had these. These boots, gum boots here, were basically my water containers, and I was very glad I had them. And I specifically bought them for the colour of the soles on their boots, which I could turn into fishing lures, and that they made ended up just making good material out of it. And this lure's got an action as good as anything you buy in a shop. And anyway, so the boots, these were handy. They also have a steel cap, which I thought I might be able to cut that out if I had to, but they were too valuable. Look, still got water in it. I was glad to have gum boots as a water carrying item. The socks. Socks aren't rocket science. The main thing is white socks don't dry as quickly. These ones took twice as long to dry as black ones. I only bought these because they were on sale, and I wish that I hadn't bought them and just got another pair of black socks. Just take dark socks when you go hiking, because you need to dry them quick, and these things are a pain in the ass to dry. Undies, these merino icebreaker undies, they're excellent. They don't even stink. Seriously, like, I haven't washed these, and I've been in and out of both 2 pairs of underpants for 64 days. They don't stink. They're excellent. They're expensive, but they're bloody excellent. Cobra hat. The only reason I brought that was to keep rain off my head, but because my plan was to not be out in the cold, not be out in the rain in my wet weathers if I didn't have to be. I didn't actually use it much at all. But what I did do was I put my own paracord strap on it, and that had the zippy thing that goes up and down, it tightens, and I was able to improvise that into a really important piece of my fishing reel. So that was the most useful thing, the thing that I took off and turned into a winder for my fishing reel. That's some of the other stuff.